So, recording? Is it recording? I hope so. Yes, it says recording. Hello, namaste. Namaste, Jen. Jen.
What a pleasure to be with you all today.
So, I will tell you, my name is Baiba. I live, and right now I'm in Riga, in Latvia, all across the world from you, Jen. Where are you now? Tell me.
I'm in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes area. And yes, where the lakes really do look like your fingers, they were gouged out by glaciers. And I am in Geneva on the plateau overlooking the lake, visiting with my family, and I'm on the family farm.
So then we are two people who, as I love to tell, like on Mother Earth's one cheek and another cheek.
This is very true. We're far, many hours of flying between us.
But we are very connected. So I decided a little bit, let's say I will give a little bit introduction why we are doing this, like everybody can see us. So I know Jen approximately maybe 2.5 years. I consider you as one of my best friends, maybe closest friends, very special friends. But I never met you in like what we call in real life. But I feel you very close. So I'm Baiba. I'm in Riga. What I do. I run this, and why I'm doing this video is because I consider myself running a project called YogaLifeArt. This is name of my website, but also the theme of that, or the main subject is I believe about this union or yoga, 21st century ways and life as a living art. Yes, something like that. So, and on my part, I have met Jen. It started with humble online exchange via email. I was going to participate one online, let's say, workshop where Jen was kind of close to that, and so through that we started to communicate. So I work with body. What I call myself here is I call it yoga for those on ascension and resurrection part. So I work when I work with body, I work with all these 12, 13, or whatever we call those chakras or our beings. I was very interested in our multi-dimensional beingness. So, and this is how I met Jen. So maybe Jen now tell me about you. Tell us about you.
Well, I come with a different body art background, and that would be more through sacred dance, sacred circle dance, and also through doing Jinshindo acupressure, and having been part of developing what's called timeline healing. And that's how I met Baiba, because every January, my business partner, and I put on a timeline healing online course in January, where we're actually exchanging timeline healing sessions. And Baiba was part of that, so you get to know each other to a place of depth, because you are working, with the challenges that are in your life, be it all the way from trauma to phobias to terrors to even creating a connection with what's so in the future and what's so in the past. So I spent a great deal of time in Egypt. That's closer to Baiba. And actually, I have plans in meeting her. I've got a one-way ticket to Egypt this time. And so when it comes spring, we will actually get together physically, God willing, and be able to take it to the next level to see, with the types of backgrounds we have, just how we would like to make a bridge, into sharing with you and others what we're doing on a more local area. And I will be in Romania offering my skills in through August and September, because I really like to teach timeline healing in small groups and also one-on-one, so that people will have a tool that they can help themselves resolve their trauma with. So that's what's up with
maybe
me.
I can a little bit share my experience, and actually at the same time it will be kind of like humble descriptions, short description about our connection with you, about what you do, and what is the friendship in this like new reality. Yes, so like so because that could be, you know, our conversations with Jen, sometimes there are shorter, sometimes like 2 hours, and they are like really like books, exciting bestsellers, like blockbusters. We travel, she says that, oh, I remember. So I say something about, but one of the recent ones was about Joan d'Arc, how I so close with her, and Jen immediately says, oh yes, I was next to you there, left board, left side. We find those, and actually, for someone who is not this what we call woo-woo person, yes, that would be like, what are those 2 ladies? But this is so real, and this is so true, and this is so like our daily life. Maybe I will a little bit short, in few sentences, will tell how we, starting with those exchanging emails, yes, found out that we are kind of, let's say, our birthdays, yes, mine is April 1st, yours is April 2nd. Then one of those meetings, because when we work together as pairs, yes, that would be correct, yes. So, and I had something like very nice pink jacket or something, and you mentioned, oh, what's this pink jacket? And I mentioned one shop I bought that. So, and now I reveal my connection. So with America, because you are American, yes, I'm humble Latvian. One and only place where I have been in America, in this huge continent, it's this area of small state Vermont, and very close there is New Hampshire, and also a little bit Massachusetts. So when I was in this small place, in small town called Brattleboro, I saw there is one very interesting event happening, paneurhythmic dance classes. I always wanted to go there. And a few months later, or 6 months later, I met Jen online, and it appears that she is, you like found it, yes, the place, yes, that's you created.
Yes, paneurhythmy in Putney, Vermont, just north of Brattleboro, is one of my very closest paneurhythmy dancer friends. Unfortunately, Rupa has passed on with cancer now, but she anchored a lot of the old energy from Bulgaria. And I didn't know this profound connection of Baiba's interest till right now about paneurhythmy because of Brattleboro.
But remember last, because you know my connection with Brattleboro different ways. So last year, it was 2017, I received an email from you. I was just, we could publish that maybe, how you were traveling back from, I think from New Hampshire, from somewhere there around. This also kind of small, not big state. And you were coming in, and you give me this description, like you come to Route 9, yes, and somewhere you get lost or something. And this is really small place. We cannot say like nowhere in America, but it's kind of. And she writes me that she's lost, and then another, you're like very close, let's say, soul and person to you, like comes to you like in his light body, yes, and tells where to go. It's another big.
Right, I got to the river in Brattleboro. It's like, which way do I turn, right or left? No, I didn't know.
Yes, and I asked Jen, so which place was that roundabout over that river, or another place like 1 mile further? And she replies me back where exactly was, and then I asked her, So how many, you are American, how many you have American friends who know this place of nowhere somewhere, Route 9, over that river, and this sitting this little Latvian, and she can tell you. So
Oh, it's a very, very small world. And because I lived in New Hampshire for 16 years, so I know the path very well between upstate New York, where my family is, in New Hampshire. And lots of times I would actually turn in Bennington and go to Brattleboro and go to the co-op and go. And even though I've never been to the Sacred Circle Dance there, and that's where Sacred Circle Dance started in the United States. It's really funny. I've been many times just north at Putney to dance Penurithma, but never Sunday night, you know, in Brattleboro to dance Sacred Circle Dance. It's a very unique world.
and you know, it's kind of like unbelievable, but this is so much reality. So then maybe I want to ask you about, you can share with other people as well about these things. If I would ask you your opinion and your maybe answer to my question about karma. We talked another day just lately about, because you mentioned, I will not go in very details, but actually you helped me out so much through those my challenges always. I'm amazed. Yes. So you just see it. And so I asked, yeah, and I asked your like sisters or friends support about one situation I was dealing with. One person I couldn't understand. It's a nice person, I have very nice connection, and you said, okay, let's go find out what's there behind that. And you mentioned, you said, okay, we did what we did. You did your not only timeline healing, there was more. This is what you do. It's beyond like specific one technique. You do everything. And then you said, oh, 75% karma spills out now through that person. So maybe you can comment or tell about what you mean by karma and what you think about karma in these days when we say
I have to be honest with Barbara. She probably doesn't know this, but this is the least interesting topic in the world to me about karma, because I've resolved my karma.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, I can talk about resolving karma because it's very, very challenging. I had the most incredible life experiences in Egypt, in Luxor last year, on the west bank of the Nile, where we have our farm. Because I have a younger man with by the name of Abulaf, which means holy man, who I farm with. I'm 66 and he's 44. And we are just the closest, the deepest of friends, have a great working relationship. But we actually got very cross each other. And I just was like, why in God's name is this, happening? And I actually had him, leave the farm and not be there for some months and just manage myself so we could just straighten out the karma, which I didn't realize what it was all about. So in these challenging times, I had no idea that it was so important for me to go through these challenges, which some of them were nearly life-threatening, of getting a knee of a camel in my head, creating a concussion, and people having broken into my house and stolen money. I mean, just all this series of events of things that normally don't go on in my life. And then I got it very, very, very clear that I was clearing trauma, and to be grateful for Abul Off and all that was going on. That was so in my face, because he's a very spiritual person, very powerful person who practices what's called the star system. Yeah. And he had made some mistakes and hadn't closed the portals. So all this energy is pouring into my house, into my life every day. And it took a great realization for me to get real clear that this was it, that I was simply ending a cycle of being so much part of everyday karma, to actually moving to a place where my karma is resolved, with myself and others. Because for me, when that happened, life just it takes on a whole new energy, because it's not about the stuff with people. It's just simply about how do I bring love into this world, and how does it resonate through me, and how can this gift of love and harmony, you know, be my everyday life. And that's what it's about now. And that's not to say that there's not, you know, interactions, but they're not that deep need to resolve things that sometimes can be very challenging between myself and others. And I can only speak about myself in this way. But I'm very grateful to have made this shift, because there's a real depth of peace inside of me now, which is something I've always intended to co-create and didn't know how. So I'm actually grateful for all those events that happened in Egypt. I certainly wasn't when it was happening, because I didn't understand. And that's why I think it's important, you know, to have a dear friend like Baiba in my life, because she listened and helped anchor and helped bridge this birth that I went through, you know, into this earth plane. Because, you know, sometimes I get like, oh my God, this is so crazy making. I just want out of this. Yeah. But I just stayed with it because I was able to be encouraged by Baiba that there's some rhyme or reason or importance to all this. And just plainly having her to talk to is important.
But but still because I did not ask you at that moment when you said it. Okay, now we are talking, it's like July 7th, 2018, and we beginning of July, we talked about this situation, and you said through that person 75% is spilling out. So it means that this person, those our previous lives, you mentioned, so they are affect us now, because that particular time,
past lives.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I have still karma with him or her.
That's right. No, but rather you've resolved your past life interactions has a lot to do with karma. And it also has a lot to do with the fact when you want to resolve what's still showing up in you from past lives, you can address it in a much more effective and efficient way if you have resolved the karma with the person, or at least with yourself. Then you can simply say, oh, I'm afraid of heights, and I'm afraid of heights because this person threw me off the mountainside. Mm-hmm. And you can be much more present when you've resolved the karma, and be much more able to say, okay, how am I going to change right down to my DNA? How am I going to change this, that I'm still living and I'm afraid of heights? A person the other day told me she's afraid of fire as the fire engine's going by. And I'm like looking at her, knowing she's never been in a fire in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. And saying to her, well, you might want to take a look at other lifetimes. And this was an older person who was 80 some years old. And it just made sense to her. Well, it's got to come from someplace else, because it didn't come from in this lifetime. Yeah. But yes, so when you can start, identifying even little bits and pieces, and maybe you just don't even know the big picture of it, but when you can really start identifying, oh, this comes from someplace, this links with something, this is part of me, but how did it get to be part of me? And start tracing things, back and resolving them with whatever your tools are. Just even acknowledging them, like we're acknowledging that there could be, a great influence from past lives showing up here now. And it's not only a negative way, it also could be very positive influences from past life. Skills, like Baiba has a most incredibly beautiful voice. I listened to her albums the other day.
I love it.
And yes, which I encourage all of you to go to her website and listen to them, and even purchase them. They're just outstanding. But I know I was an opera singer in the past, and I love to sing. And whenever opportunities present, I do. And here I am having those recollections of Baiba being a fellow opera singer in Persian times.
Yes.
And I hadn't even told her till now,
Yeah,
but
I have one
she,
version. Yes, I know.
yeah, she definitely has. I was just watching Rumi last night in March 18th in the cathedral in Washington, D.C., you know, Coleman Barks' presentation and Zuleika's dancing and the
Uh-huh.
musicians and all. And it was coming through of Baiba in my times that we were in Persia together, and where, you know, you were encouraged to develop your voice and to sing and to sing stories and to
Yeah.
sing your life.
But
So you
maybe
get to,
this is, thank you for that. Maybe this is a good example, good way how we explain what are timeline healings. This is such a tricky subject, or no, yeah, what is timelines actually? Not healing, but what are timelines? Yes? Or
what are timelines?
what?
Well, there's just so many of them. And they all exist at the same time, and of course they are they're supported by quantum physics. I mean, quantum physics is the way to understand timeline.
Yeah.
And my business partner actually wrote a book called Mystery of Time recently that has all about timeline healing in it, and it
Oh, I
also
see.
gives a
Start
lot of the
really.
physics background, because his dad is a physicist and he grew up with all of this. So as we're leading these parallel timelines or these parallel lives, we actually get to choose what the dominant timeline is. Like Baiba and I chose to get together and have this conversation, and that's where our focus is. But there's all these other timelines going on, and we may not even be consciously aware of them, but they're happening. And you can dive into quantum physics and explain exactly. But what we discovered is you can go back to timelines in the past, and you can't change what happened in the past, but you can change the second after it happened. So Baiba and I could do that right now. We could change this dominant timeline we're on and just go in a totally different direction if we chose. So it's really important to learn the facts exist in quantum physics, that actually time is much different than we perceive it, and we co-create it as humans. Right down to the fact where many scientists, you know, they're like, it doesn't even exist. But it does exist in ways that we co-created as
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah.
So it's a rather it's a topic of deep knowledge, and people are actually becoming quite adept at consciously choosing to change their timelines, and they'll actually jump to another timeline because they consciously choose for whatever purpose is behind it. And you can actually go back into the past and anchor yourself in a place where your life was just awesomely wonderful, and bring that energy forth and consciously use it to support yourself. Or you can go to the future and talk to your future self and connect with your future timelines, because they're already there. And of course, you have free will. You can change any of them. You can't change the past, but you can change any of the future ones to be whatever you'd like. So it actually is a tool of empowerment, a tool of knowing what's really so in your life, and so that, you know, lots of people feel totally out of control, and you're really not, because you are the one who's in control of all those timelines.
Because awareness, you know, why we are, I have with my another fellow, like, let's say, light family members or friends, I don't have a term for us. We have these, sometimes this, we start our, when we call each other or speak by meeting, so what's in the air, how you feel those energies right now. And I totally can agree that lately these weeks is a very like present, this energy of time, like changing our perception about time. So like in different ways than people, because I noticed just few weeks ago that I'm so content right here, right now. I don't need any more to rush to see this and that, to go together. I'm so content. And so then I just, yes, I received one. I've subscribed many masters. I like to compare and had what I feel about these things. And one exactly said about this, that this is because we are shifting from, no, there are different ways how we go from fourth to fifth dimension anyways, but there totally changes our perception about time. And what you just brought forward, it's also the same. And so I think also now what we feel, because many feel this exhausted or something, because all those timelines just like come, and this is the moment when you can choose, yes, which one you go.
Yes, and that's very empowering. So you don't feel like life is choosing for you. You don't feel like outside sources are choosing for you. You know, you're choosing, and that's very supportive of who you are. You know, it helps keep your emotional body in balance, helps keep your chakras open so that you're, you know, receiving the energy, and that more energy can be received from the food you eat. You make wiser choices to have food that fits what you need nutritionally, and your thoughts are calmer. You know, just like Baiba said, she's content to be home. And I've noticed since I've known Baiba for 2.5 years, she really is becoming a more content and more content and more content person. And she does like to travel, and she'll continue to travel, but it's done in a different way. I've noticed that there used to be a freneticness about her, and that's gone. And us Aries, we can be frenetic. We can have frenetic energy, but it's gone. She's no longer operating from that place. She's much calmer and much more present to her dominant timeline that she's chosen. When you actively choose how you want, you know, how you manifest your life, it's done through, you know, what you focus on in your dominant timeline. But and yoga is part of that dominant timeline for her, which is really important that each and every one of us have something like that does have a physical aspect of it, because we do live on a physical planet. You know, this earth school is very physical. It's great to be spiritual, but how do we take all of our spirituality and actually become very present, you know, in our everyday life with it?
You know,
I've seen people in Egypt.
I did not want particularly to touch this my yoga aspect, but since you brought it up, you know, in the context what we are speaking about, like those, let's say 10, 15 years to go back, I was started through me, through my body, I was not in trance state, nothing. I was just like trusting my inner feelings. I started to do different postures and totally different practices before, because yoga, especially in my country, it's always like last 40, 50 years been very masculine way, yes, like this. And so and I trusted more and more what comes through me. And so now already, when now I can be brave enough and denounce that this is a body work for those on ascension parts, and we work not only with our physical bodies but with our, like, let's say, subtle structure through specific movements. So it started already then back, this just, yeah, trust your intuition and what comes through. But I wanted to ask you, because I studied this specific method, timeline healing meditation, but you know, it's, you do it because I've been blessed and honored and privileged to do it in pairs with you. So that was so many like other aspects there, and often when I need something like your advice or your support, you do there many different things, just like quick.
Well, I'm a very, very well developed intuitive person, not psychic, but very well developed intuitively. So I am in contact, you know, with many other forms of energy and beings besides the fact of the two, what we are here physically. So I'm very willing to listen to Kuan Yin or to Thich Nhat Hanh, who is in physical body, or others who aren't. You know, I don't see it as a matter of being in physical body. It's like each and every being that's ever been, like Rumi, for example, you know, is still available, is still here in their spirit form. So I've been very blessed ever since I've been a small child to be able to just ask that their energy comes through my hands and to help, you know, if it's a racehorse with a bowed tendon or a person, or, you know, whatever, but whoever needs some life energy for it to just be able to come through my hands. So timeline healing for me, or timeline healing meditation for me, provides another level where all of the bodies can be addressed, you know, physical, emotional, mental, causal, you know, the energy body around, outside of our body, astral, and etheric. And most of us, we don't consciously live in that realm of being aware we have these other bodies. I mean, there is so much that makes us up. Baiba, you know, was talking about what do I want to say? You know, more than 7 chakras. You know, there's just so much more. So when we start to really get to know ourselves and find out who we really are, it really changes our perception, you know, and it changes the way we relate, you know, to the trees, the way we relate to the animals, the way we relate to the insects. It just changes of having a deeper and wider respect for all life forms, because there's so much more there than just the physical life form. When you look at how complicated, you know, our bodies are, just what miracles they are, and all the different relatedness to each part of them, to everything in the universe. I mean, we literally are made of the same stuff as the stars, stardust. And when you take a look at the ascension aspects, we really are all ascending together. We really are going back to source, whatever you refer to as source and whatever words you use. But that's who we really are. So why not become who we really are? Why not have these incredible methods, tools, and these are only a few that we even address here. But whatever way is here, because the yoga helps your physical body be able to maintain a higher vibration. It's very easy to have our consciousness be of a higher vibration, but how do we have our bodies, our physical bodies, be of the same? They don't move as fast, you know, they're denser than our consciousness. And we need to practice these ways on a daily, you know, basis, not just once a month, not just once a year, but actually have actual practices that raise the physical vibration. And not just for the fact of staying healthy, but it just helps us be who we really, really are. And it's quite a challenge in this day and age with all the pollutants, and not only physical pollutants, but, you know, thought form pollutants, and on and on. I mean, just to be able to be yourself without anybody else's thought forms. And it's great in the sense of oneness that we have, but thought forms can be very polluting, and they can be in our food. I like to eat food right out of the garden. I'm actually getting ready to go pick Swiss chard after we get done talking, from my sister's garden. It's only been around the thought forms of my sister and my mom and I, and, you know, not ever to a grocery store. So when we start looking at these different levels of vibration and how it manifests, it really gives you a whole nother sense of empowerment that you can choose. You can choose to support your vibration of all your bodies.
Speaking about pollution, maybe you remember there was one moment in the beginning of our meeting together, like several months after that. You made a great healing on me. I went through real challenges that time with my physical wealth. And then one moment you asked me, hey, where do you live? Is there something like, I feel major pollution? And actually, I really live in very interesting place. From one hand, there is like really like factories and you really
Yeah,
serious.
because I've seen Baiba's city outside of her windows,
Yeah.
recently, and like in the wintertime. And me,
Yeah.
I just felt the sense of the water, the sea. She lives near the sea.
Yes.
But this whole human part of pollution never entered in until I saw it, how it was affecting
So,
her energy.
yeah, and I was asking so then what to do because I was considering that time maybe to change my apartment and this and that, but because on another side of me, 5 minutes walk is just beautiful forest, clean. So I'm in between two worlds, between old world and new, like 3D and 5D, many levels, newer, older, transitioning to newer. So, and you just said me, I said no, and you gave me one very quick, and actually that time Pleiadians came forward and they gave for me, or Arcturians, no, Pleiadians. They gave very great tool I can use, and immediately with my consciousness and with my energy change it. And I no, I mean, it works very well.
Because it's proven now that trees are putting out chemicals that create a whole different atmosphere. I mean, this is scientifically documented. You can go and read about it. The giant sequoia trees are the best at it. They create a very healthy atmosphere, and it's not only for themselves. I look at trees as some of the most advanced beings. We both share this
Yeah.
uprightness, and they're not only doing it for themselves, they're doing it for all of life, of keeping this balance and harmony of life. So, Baiba gets to go off and be in the trees in this place of harmony and balance.
That, yeah, that I do anyways. But you said what I do with my consciousness, with my
Yes.
so, and that's real. Those are tools of this new earth. Your consciousness creates everything. Not even
Yes.
solves karma, but also okay. I need this. I need okay. In previous lives, yes, we were my favorite turquoise, yes, and then we raise, but we can also create by our thought form, our intention. Okay, I'm at this moment I'm turquoise. So yeah.
Right. And when you become aware of that, when you became aware of the pollution in the forest, and when you become aware of gold and turquoise,
Yeah.
it's awareness of your consciousness that creates it to be even more active element. And then it starts changing all the way down to the DNA, because your DNA has been affected by everything up till this moment until you introduce something new. And you can literally reconstruct yourself.
Yeah.
Baiba's done it.
This is why this is real truth that we are gods and goddesses. Okay, there is creator and hierarchy, some kind of but we are because we can create with our energy.
Right, and see, we're really getting it in our consciousness that we are, because our consciousness is raised, and we're really getting it in all of our bodies. And when we have guided timeline healing meditations on the fourth Sunday of every month, I get the feedback. I mean, it's people around the world, and I get the feedback of how that meditation is actually going out to wherever we've decided whatever part of the world we're going, or whatever's going on, and we want to touch and meditate about and heal or change. I actually get feedback about the changes that have happened.
Because,
and it's just
we did not emphasize in the beginning of our conversation about these karma and solvings, because we don't know, because this is for us so obvious that we not only live for ourselves, we put in much bigger level. Of course, we need to solve some our daily problems, but this is for us too small. We are not so much interested in like Egypt, Latvia, world, planet, yes, galaxy. This is for
we
us.
sometimes ask, oh, why are we in Latvia? Why are we in Egypt? Why am I in the United States?
So, Jen, and I know that I need to let you go because you're traveling to big events.
New
And
Hampshire.
yes, for your dances. So maybe you can. I will later on. I will after this recording put where people, if they wanna meet you for some reason, for some sessions or for something, will they put out, or they just like some.
Coming to dance venue with me,
Yeah.
July 21st and 25th would be wonderful in Franconia, New Hampshire at Niskaya Dance Center. Come join us for a dance camp.
Yeah, but you are also online person. Because it's
Yes.
not like some advertising or something. Not at all. We just share our talents and our abilities and how we can really support each other. I will put out my website as well. I work in 3 languages, so Latvian, sure, English and the Russian also for many things, and you will give some sources where people can find you if they want. Yes?
Right. You can always find me on Skype under jan.nash52. I'm very willing to make Skype appointments. That works very well in my life. As Baiba and I both know, we know each other over Skype. Thank you for Skype so much.
So, my dear, so then maybe let's say bye-bye each to other and everyone for who participate, because we wanted to share our friendship, our vibrations eventually, and thank you who felt that and watched till the end.
Yes, and we encourage you to develop relationships in your lives, like you, ones that are just so nurturing and that are so down to earth, but they just don't happen on their own. You know, Baiba and I put time and energy, and we share. We're not always at our finest, like right now. Sometimes it's like, oh, or sometimes we have 7 hours of time between us, and I'm like, oh wow, it's this hour at Baiba's when I'm able to talk, and it's like, no, I have to turn it into the morning hours of 8 o'clock to be able to talk with her, which isn't always the time that I want to be talking. I tend to be more inner in the morning. And then when I'm in Egypt, then it's easy because we're both up on the similar time zone. So, but I want to thank each and every one of you for your time and just being able to come and be with us. That's what it's all about, is really being with each other.
And yeah, maybe this could serve how new, because lately I host here in Latvia this workshop called partnerships or relationships, new ways. So, and when people ask, what are those new ways of relationship? They are like never before. I don't know. I cannot give strict descriptions what kind of, okay, few of them, but you will be always surprised because this is new, like never before. This is like, so, and maybe we can also like encourage you for new ways of friendship, communication, and special connection. Okay.
Yeah, that brings forth the love, like that we all can have friendships and flow in the type of love that Baiba and I have been so delighted to co-create. It's not always easy to do this when you're closer together in energetics like April 1 and April 2. It's really incredible because lots of times when you are of the same sun sign, it isn't the easiest to interact with each other's energies and who you are. So we've been very, very supported and blessed to be able to overcome just the energetics, to just be able to be together. I'm very grateful, Baiba.
Grateful for you too. So then,
so ciao, my dear.
Say busa,
Egyptian
greeting, busa busa, and Latvians say bucha bucha.
Busa busa, busa busa. That's Latvian and Arabic.
Yeah, Arabic.
Some similar roots there for sure, Baiba. Bye, ciao.
Peace in Latvian. Ciao, ciao, bye.
Ciao, ciao.